What is going on, Niner fans? We got some news, a little bit of Victory Monday news. We'll talk about it. We'll make it quick. But Kyle Shanahan addressed the media today. We're going to talk all about your injury updates going into the bye week. The good news is if there's any injuries, get a little time to rest. The 49ers get a whole week off. Week 14 bye. It's kind of clutch. It's actually not kind of clutch. It really is clutch. So what's going on, everybody? It's Victory Monday. 9-4. This team's unbelievably I don't know. I don't even know if it's lucky or magical, what the word is, but something is special about this team. They're 9-4. We know all the injuries. You can sit here and write a book about everything that's happened with this team. Kittle and Purdy and Pearsall and Warner and Bosa and blah 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 blah. They're one of the best teams in the NFC, hands down. They got the best special teams unit in the NFL now. They were the worst ranked team last year. Brian Schneider out, Brent Boyer in. Defense is one of the best defenses in the league now. They're playing tough. I wouldn't say best defenses, but opportunity. They're starting to catch this rhythm, right? Robert Saleh's got to play him at a very good level. The secondary is starting to really step up. You got Clellan Ferrell and Keon White have been really big additions to this team. Alfred Collins has been getting better. Things are looking up. But let's talk about the injuries. I'm just happy about this team, man. I don't know how the hell they're pulling it off, man. I know Browns is not a good team. They have a good defense. They're one of the top defenses in the league. And they have Myles Garrett. Everybody was worried, including myself, that we're going to get destroyed. It was a trap game. 49ers didn't look like they fell into any trap. So without further ado, the 49ers worked out several players. They had a lot of tryouts today. So they had wide receiver Javon Baker, Cole Burgess, a wide receiver Kobe Hudson, quarterback Taylor Elgersma, and tight end Tanner McLaughlin. Who? A bunch of who's. I don't know. They need depth. They'll probably sign one of these guys for some depth or whatever the case is. But again, you probably don't know any of these players. I don't know any of these players. I'm not going to pretend I know any of these guys. Javon Baker, Cole Burgess, Kobe Hudson, Taylor Elgersma, and Tanner McLaughlin. That's who they tried out today. Maybe they'll sign him. I don't know. The big news of the day is Kyle Juszczyk has suffered fractured ribs, and he'll be evaluated after the bye week. Fractured ribs could take a couple of weeks to heal, right? Broken bones take about 6 weeks to heal. I can't speak today. Broken bones take about 6 weeks to fully heal. Now it's not a non-weight bearing bone. You're not walking on it, standing on it like a leg. So technically he could probably play, but it's going to be a pain management thing. Juwan Jennings played through some broken ribs a couple of weeks ago. It's tough, and a lot of people were upset because they said yesterday the tests were negative. What happened? So I assume they didn't run x-rays initially yesterday. They probably did some special testing. And it looked like he didn't fracture his ribs or break his ribs or whatever. And they ran x-rays and probably oh, never mind. So it's tough. If Kyle Juszczyk has to miss any games, he'll probably miss the Titans game, maybe, but he'll be evaluated next week. He's a tough guy. We need him for the run game. I saw a comment on Instagram. Someone's like, oh, it's not a big loss. Excuse me? That's a big loss, actually, because he's so important for the run game, and we need him. So I don't want to, put down the Titans, but they're a very bad team. I feel like if we don't have Kyle Juszczyk, we can beat the Titans without Kyle Juszczyk. But I don't think we can win our last 3 games without Kyle Juszczyk because that run game needs Juszczyk. You got the Colts, great defense. You got the Bears, great defense. And you got the Seahawks, great defense. You need him to be able to run the ball on those 3 teams. So we'll see what happens with him. Nick Martin in the concussion protocol. And the shocker of the day, shocker alert. Everybody listen up. This is the most shocking news of the day. Ben Bartch will be going on the injured reserve with a foot sprain. They're saying it's possibly a Liz Frank. Color me shocked. I told you guys at the beginning of the season, keeping Ben Bartch was the biggest mistake of the entire offseason. And it's true to this day. I don't think he's even played, 5-6 games this year. A guy's been a liability, can't stay healthy. He has talent, but he's never there. Spencer Burford, it's his job now. They tried to get, they had Connor Colby, the rookie, tried to throw him into the fire. They should have just upgraded this position in the offseason. I know they wanted to replace Aaron Banks with Ben Bartch and this and that. It was the worst decision they could have made. Now, I hope Spencer Burford can continue to play at a good level. He has played really well lately. So let's see if he can keep it up. But this was a a botch. This was a bad decision from the start because this guy's never stayed healthy his entire career. I told you this months ago. I was like, this is stupid. He's gonna get hurt. He'll end up on the injury reserve list. Like, I don't wish injuries on him, but he's injury prone, and it's unfortunate for him. So there we go. Bunch of no names. Yeah. Has anyone checked on Shelby Harris? Bro is in his feelings. I haven't checked on him, and I'm never gonna check in on him. Guy was so pressed at Jennings. Yeah, I told us, but at least we got Connor Colby. I mean, I like Colby. I think he has good potential, but they threw that man into the fire. I like how Spencer Burford stepped up. So that's the bad news of the day. But is it really bad news? Because we didn't expect him to do much for us anyways. Spencer Burford's played good. Now there's a lot of good news that came out of this press conference, this little media conference from Kyle Shanahan. Eddie Pinheiro is expected to return after the bye week. That's exciting. Pinheiro! This guy gets an extra week to rest that hammy. He had the 2 weeks off plus the extra week. That's perfect. This bye week lined up perfectly. So Eddie Pinheiro will be back after the bye week. Juszczyk Matos, he has a good chance to be active for week 15, according to Kyle Shanahan. I mean, I'll take it. We can get some good depth on the edge, but this is another guy like Ben Barch. I don't expect Juszczyk Matos to be available for too long. I don't know. He's just injury prone. And then the other good news is Tatum Bethune and Sam O have a good chance to return to the lineup after the bye week. So good news. Tatum Bethune, Sam O, Juszczyk Matos, and Eddie P will be back on the lineup. I know Kyle Juszczyk's banged up, but we'll probably get him back maybe after the Titans game, maybe after the bye. But it's good news. Team's kind of getting healthy. It's kind of scary. We're getting healthier as the weeks go on. We got a bye week to rest up. That's gonna be clutch to really push us through that stretch run of the season. So 3 tough games to end the year, and having the bye week is very, very, very critical for us. So that's pretty much all the updates for today. Again, Niners with the big game yesterday, big win in Cleveland, first time since 1984. I'm sure you've heard that a lot. It's just amazing that the 49ers are 9-4 with this season, with all the adversity. And they have the same amount of wins as the number 1 team in the NFC. Well, that's crazy to me. The Bears have, 9 wins? And the 49ers have 9 wins. They're kind of close to that top seed. I feel like if the 49ers win out and some of these other teams lose, we might be able to steal the top spot. And I know people are crazy, this, that. Niners got a good team. The NFC doesn't scare me. It really doesn't. So we'll see how it plays out. And, I feel like the Niners are getting hot at the right time. It's all about getting hot at the right time. We've won 3 games in a row. I know our opponents haven't been the best. But you still got to play the game. You still got to win. We've had adversity, so it doesn't matter. Niners haven't had their best lineup out there, but Brock Purdy comes back. They've won games. The Panthers wasn't a bad team. They beat the Rams yesterday. I knew they were a good team, but the Niners just were too much for them. I feel like being in prime time in Levi Stadium, Monday Night Football, that was too much for the Panthers' young team to handle, too much for Bryce. Yesterday, the game, not televised. It was whatever type game, middle of the day. Bryce Young, he pulled the upset off. Good for him. But primetime game, I don't know if Bryce couldn't be able to handle it. And that's same thing with Caleb. Although he's won some primetime games this year. That Black Friday game was the only game, national game, televised against Philly. Bears are a good team. I'm not going to lie to you. They've definitely exceeded my expectations. So Steve says, YGM will get hurt in his first practice back. I wouldn't doubt it. My man Terradome says, what's up, folks? 9-4. 9-4, man. Tomeo says, will Juice be back after the bye? They're going to evaluate him. He could be. Fractured ribs. Takes a couple of weeks. Depends on the pain. I feel like Kyle Juszczyk could probably miss the game after the bye, but I'm sure he could play. He's a tough guy. He's a tough SOB. Jennings has played through broken ribs. I could see, Kyle Juszczyk, but at the same time, you don't need to force it. You don't want to make the issue worse. So I feel like if Kyle Juszczyk can miss a game plus the bye week, he'll be good for the stretch run. So we'll see how it goes. Dayton 6. The shout out to Clelin Ferrell. I didn't think he could be much, just low risk guy, but he was a huge addition to the D-line. He really has been. Clelin Ferrell, man, he's a difference maker. He's absolutely been fantastic. 4 games, 4 sacks. I don't think in his 7-year career, he's never had more than 4.5 sacks. This guy's been playing really good for the 49ers. He wants to get the bag. He wants to get paid, and he's playing money motivated. And you know, I feel like he's comfortable with the Niners. He's played on the Niners. He says he loves the coaching staff, put him in good position. And, you know, he's got Chris Kasurek there barking in his ear, and I'm sure he loves it, man. And Clelin Ferrell right now has been the star of our defensive line. There's no Nick Bosa, and he's really taken that leap. So I feel like it's been pretty good with this edge, with the D-line these last couple of weeks. Now, I know, again, I wasn't the greatest teams, but it's good to build their confidence. They're going to build off this. You know, Clelin Ferrell, Keon White, Bryce Huff. We get Sam O back. Kind of got a good D-line right there. They just got to stay healthy. Maybe YGM, although I'm not going to count on YGM. So, Juice should return for the last 3 games, says AJ. Yeah, I think so. Imagine this team being the team that gets Kyle his ring. LOL. Could you imagine if this is the team? It's ragtag, bunch of rookies, young players, second-year players, injured players, practice squad players. Crazy. It would be crazy. It would actually be wild. I mean, Super Bowl could still be an option for this team. If Saleh leaves, Niners should consider Schwartz. Kyle's enemy, his nemesis. Might as well. If you can't beat him, join him. He finally beat him yesterday. Although they have Gus. Is it Gus Edwards? He's probably going to be the next DC. Like, he's just waiting in the cut when Saleh leaves. It's probably going to be Edwards. Gussie. Remember he had his or Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley or Gus Edwards? Carter Bradley. Oh, it's Gus Bradley. Right? That's the guy? The defensive assistant? Whatever his name. Gus. Edwards or Bradley. His son was on the team, the quarterback. That's probably going to be the guy. That's the new DC. Bradley. Yeah, Bradley. I don't know why I mix him up with Gus Edwards. Dr. Space Monkey says, it's not a true Victory Monday without the annual injury report. 9-4 going into the bye. You got to love the Victory Mondays, you know. Kyle loves to talk, you know, he does his little Monday media session, and he gives us all the injuries that we can handle. And it's for the 49ers, it's always like a list of them. Other teams in the league, you might get one. Nah, you know, somebody sprained a leg or whatever. Yeah, we always have a laundry list of injuries on Victory Monday. So it's like, okay, we're happy, and then we're like, oh, shit. So we'll see. Saleh staying, I would love it. I hope so. If we win a Super Bowl, maybe not. Maybe he'll ride off to another team. Like, he's going to get a lot of head coaching jobs. They're going to pay him a lot of money. So we'll see. Will Warner make it back if we're far into the playoffs? You know, I talked about this yesterday, Temo. Initially, I was like, no, there's no way. With the injury he had, you know, just looking at everything, look at all the, you know, all the intangibles and, you know, knowing a lot about, you know, how body works with rehab and being a PTI. At first, I was like, there's no way. And then I thought about it, and then I saw this guy and like the way he works and his mindset. I think there's a chance. I think Fred Warner would push himself to that point. Like, he's probably pushing himself like crazy. He's recovered really well so far. He's kind of I think he's a little ahead of schedule. I feel like out of any player on this team that were to get injured, to be able to come back after a big injury in the playoffs, it's Fred Warner. I feel like he could defy the odds. I think he could come back. I know, it's crazy. Yeah, Warner is a tough SOB, man. He's an unbelievable player. He's a tough dude. I met him a few times the last couple of weeks. He's in good spirits. He's just worried about getting better and rehabbing and taking a day at a time, but he says he's pushing it as hard as he can. The guy's incredible, man. Robert stays one more season. I hope so, Steve. I really do. I hope so. We need him. This guy's been like, he's been such a big reason why the 49ers have turned things around. You know what I mean? Last year, Nick Sorensen was terrible. I mean, our coordinators last year were just terrible. Brian Schneider and Nick Sorensen were gutter trash. And now you have Brant Boyer and Robert Saleh. And would you look at that? One of the best defenses in the league over the last couple of weeks with the ragtag group of guys. Now, I know we're not getting pressure, but they're still making opportunistic plays. And that special teams unit, holy moly, man. Sky Moore has been fantastic. Let's talk about Sky Moore a little bit. This guy was a castaway from the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, people wrote him off. He was a meme player. People talk trash about him. Oh my God, bust. He was they made a lot of jokes. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. He sucked. Niners took him. We got a late round pick swap, and nobody really thought anything of him. I mean, people are like, he's going to be like fourth receiver, fifth receiver. What the heck? And then we tried him at special teams, and man, what a difference he's made. Putting us in good field position. He's putting this team in good field position. I feel like every week he's about to break one, for a touchdown. He gets big gains, 66-yarder yesterday. I really like what I've seen out of Sky Moore, man. He's been a hell of a player. That's huge. When you can start like on the 40-yard line, 50-yard line, 30-yard line, because of a big return like that, it changes the momentum of the game. It changes the complexion of the game. Put yourself in the short field. You can actually score. You have a higher probability of scoring, instead of having to drive 80 yards, 90 yards. It's nice, man. I like what I've seen out of Sky Moore. And this special teams unit has just been good. Darrell Luter yesterday, big play. They're aggressive, man. They put a big emphasis on special teams, and I like what I've seen. So we'll see. Yeah, he does want to break one loose. Wilkes wasn't all that either. I mean, Wilkes was better than Sorensen, a veteran. I feel once he went and became sideline Steve, he was better. But yeah, he wasn't great. He wasn't horrible. I feel like he was slightly above average. I would have liked to keep Wilkes over Nick Sorensen, that's for sure. So Blooming says that kid they drafted in the 6th round to return punts cut directly. Led to Sky Moore trade. Guess it kind of worked out. Yeah, Bergen guy, they drafted him, I think 7th round or something. He was supposed to be like the top return man in college football, D1, and and then boom, Sky Moore comes, and he took advantage of that opportunity. They didn't look back. So yeah, good stuff. Matt Gay's been doing his job. Yeah, the doink you very much yesterday. Matt Gay did his job. He served his time for the 49ers very nicely. He didn't miss a field goal. I like what I saw out of him. Thank you, Matt Gay, for not pulling a Jake Moody. He was close to it yesterday, but he doinked it in. And Eddie Pinheiro will be back after the bye. So that's encouraging. That's nice news. But Matt Gay held it down, man. It's crazy to know that no kicker on the 49ers this season has missed a kick except Jake Moody. Unbelievable, man. That was the key to this season, getting rid of Jake Moody. One of the keys. There's been a lot of keys, but getting rid of Jake Moody has saved our year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's the news. Let me recap real quick, and then I'm going to head out, bolt to the door. Let's go over the news one more time. Tatum Bethune and Sam O have a chance to return to the lineup, as does Yeturgos Matos has a good chance to return in Week 15. Eddie Pinheiro, he's expected to return after the bye week. Good news for us because he is a hell of a kicker. And then Nick Martin is in the concussion protocol. And the shocking news of the day, Ben Bartch has a sprained foot, which will place him on the injured reserve and will most likely end his season. Man is made out of glass. And Kyle Juszczyk has fractured ribs and will be evaluated after the bye, according to Kyle Shanahan. So those are your updates. Also, the 49ers had tryouts for the following players: Javon Baker, wide receiver Cole Burgess, wide receiver Kobe Hudson, quarterback Taylor El Gersma, and tight end Tanner McLaughlin. Who? That's your news for today. 49ers are 9-4, and we have a bye week. I'll probably be live with Larry tomorrow, and then I'll see you guys next week sometime. You guys have a blessed rest of your Victory Monday. Take care of yourselves, and as always, go Niners.